can I just quickly rant about Cyberpunk 2077 because it's been
Yeah.
on my mind? I know it's old news, but I've only seen one person talk about this. Right, the whole thing with Cyberpunk 2077 coming out and being really glitchy on the PS4 and the Xbox One. CD Projekt Red, who in my opinion have made some of the best games, some of those games being The Witcher 3, but they make good games, and I won't sit here and defend a multi-million company because they're faceless, and I don't care about them really because companies don't deserve that. But the individuals, the developers, the people who made the game, the creators and the creatives and the artists and the actors and everything that went into that, all of these people with all these jobs and everything, I don't think they should have got as much flack for Cyberpunk being glitchy on the PS4 and the Xbox
Yeah.
One as they
Like,
did,
it's
because I've heard. Sorry, I just want to rant about this for a minute. I've heard that the producers at CD Projekt Red are also to blame for this, but no one is talking about the fact that in order for it to be on the PS4 and on the Xbox One, both Sony and Microsoft had to receive a copy of that game, play it on their own console, and then be like, "Oh yeah, this is good. This can run on this."
yeah.
Sony haven't got any flack for it, and neither has Microsoft. And I feel like instead of
I
blaming the game devs for this, saying, "Oh, they didn't test their game or whatever," because they tested their game. They definitely tested their game. Um, Blame Sony for signing off on it being on the PS4. Blame
yeah.
Microsoft for signing off on it being on the Xbox One. There
Um
are new generation consoles, and the only reason Sony and Microsoft signed off on that is to sell PS4 and Xbox Ones before they became irrelevant. That's it.
I
And it just annoys me so much that
and
the
I
developers
also
for
feel
this
like the
game got flack for
fans
it.
are very, very quick to pass judgment on these people. Like, you see people having a go at the company for the game not working. You don't see anyone praising them for
Yeah.
for
For the amount of effort and work
and
and many years what went into making this game
like
happen, you
the
don't see anyone being like, "Good job, well done."
and how aggressive the fans were as well. Like,
Yeah,
why did they bother doing something nice for them? Because they were so aggressive. Like, some of the tweets were threats, like,
yeah.
to the
No,
developers and their families. Like,
they received death threats
like,
through the internet, and
like,
it's
like,
it's awful. And
um,
why would you? Why?
why would you? Why would you ever want to make something for people again if that's the reception you get for it being a little bit laggy?
Yeah.
You just need
Or
to
for
grow up.
another and a completely different company signing off on something that isn't playable.
Yeah,
If like
and
sign off on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X being able to play it, that is fine. But don't sign off on an out of date console being able to play this game just so that you can use another company as a scapegoat and all of its employees suffer for that.
and
I just think that's
it's
really
just
awful.
like, they do have a right to be upset, but it is never okay to send someone threats over the internet,
Yeah.
especially not over a bloody video game. Like, they all, like, it goes for everybody on the internet, really. Before you type something, before you type a threat to someone, you need to take a step back and think, wow, is that a dickhead thing to do? And if you're sending anybody a death threat over a
Yeah.
video game, you need to take a step back and sort your life out.
Reevaluate your
Like,
life, definitely.
exactly, like the fans of this video game, like, what the fuck? Like, I like video
Yeah.
games. I play video games in my spare time to relax. But
Uh-huh.
I am very glad that I will never be the sort of video game player that thinks it's okay to send someone threats because a game was laggy on my computer, on my
Aye.
PlayStation. Like, that is You have a right to be upset and angry, but it's never okay to be that angry. If you're that angry over a video game not working, you shouldn't be playing video games because there's clearly something going on. And
No.
like, I don't know, just a lot of the video game fan fandoms that I've seen just seem to be very, very poisonous.
Yes. Yeah, no, I feel like
And
that's the case, especially with anonymity on the internet being what it is.
yeah,
Talking about people being angry, though, and to kind of flip it around, because we've had praise for CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk so far in this podcast, but to flip it back round, just quickly, because I want to get on to seeing if anyone in chat wants to broaden the discussion in a moment. I just want to touch upon the last thing with Cyberpunk 2077. And Casper, I will leave most of this to you because it doesn't really affect me as a cisgendered person. But gender in Cyberpunk 2077 was assigned to your voice. And there are certain
and
decisions and
that's
certain
just
characters you can
it.
romance in the game that are affected by this. So if you had a female bodied person and you had a masculine voice, you could only romance someone who is into masculine voices. And it's just very strange that they
And
made that decision. And
it's
how
just
could they have done that better,
it's just
Casper?
gross. It's disgusting, and it's the reason I won't be playing that game until it's fixed. Because I'm a trans guy. I have I have a female body. I'm using the quotation marks and a masculine
Yeah,
voice. And a
yeah,
lot of Cyberpunk's marketing was about non-binary people and how
yeah,
non-binary people were included, and about how it was amazing that non-binary people were included, and then they didn't
yeah,
fucking include them. Like, if your gender is dictated by your voice, you're not catering to the trans community like your advertising says that you are. And yes, I
yes,
know that there were trans people on this development team. I know that there was LGBT people on this development
yeah,
team because I've researched it. Like, I don't understand. Like, I've got trans friends and non binary friends that were really excited to play this game because they thought they would be able to have a voice and a body like theirs and go by they them pronouns. You
oh,
can't. What's the point
yes,
of
and
advertising it in the way that it did? And I know that there's little trans flags hid about the
yeah,
game in chests and stuff from, again, friends that have played it.
yeah,
So they are actively trying to include the trans community, but
and yet
they've
the character
half-hearted it.
creation.
Like, so
Yeah.
much so that me, a trans person, won't be playing that game until it's fixed.
And I find it very odd that
Like,
they put all of this out there and advertised it the way they did, and then they just fell short
yeah,
in the
like
character creation, and it's such
it's
an odd
so easy
place
to
for
do.
it to fail.
Like The Sims do it perfectly. The Sims
Yes,
are like, can your
I
character
don't.
have children
Yeah,
or not? And that is the gender, and you can assign whatever
yeah.
voice. And I will always say,
I don't have much of a knowledge of game development myself, but I have studied it a little bit. I've had my dabbled my hand in it a little bit, and I know that there will be a variable somewhere in the code that says, is this character masculine or is this character feminine? Unfortunately, I don't think non-binary is as
like,
easy a fix, and they should have done
like,
programmed that from the start.
all
But
you need to
hold on, let me
do,
say this, please. Um, there will be a variable somewhere that just says, is this character masculine or is this character feminine? And you can just tie that to another switch that says, is this character masculine or is this character feminine, and have the voice thing completely separate. And that would be an easy fix even now. The non-binary thing, not so much, but the the gender thing, in terms of it being binary anyway, is an easy enough fix to do. Just tie it to a different variable, tie it to a different button that says yes or no. And that would be easy. And I just don't understand why they failed there.
and like, I don't understand with the non-binary thing. A lot of their
Yeah.
advertising within the game includes non-binary people.
Right.
Like, there's non-binary characters in the game, supposedly. I'm not going to say there is because I haven't played it. I haven't seen any trans people say that there is yet, so I'm saying supposedly. Uh,
Right.
there's supposedly non-binary characters in the game.
Yeah.
But it would be very easy to just put a sliding scale as would you like your voice to be high or low? You don't
Yeah.
need to put gender into it. You do it with pitch.
Yeah.
And you can put it in the middle,
Yeah.
which is somewhere in the middle. And the
Yeah.
same with the body type. Like, would you like your character to be curvy or non curvy? You don't need gendered language in character creation
Uh
at
huh.
all.
Yeah.
And
And I feel like it would be an easy fix to do now the game's out. Like it would be an easy update to make. Unfortunately, the non-binary thing though, because they would have to re-record lines, so I don't think they would ever be able to update it since. But I just find it so weird. Like as you say, they marketed it as a non-binary friendly and things like that, and then they just didn't include that at all. And I
like
just thought that was
like
very
I cannot
strange.
imagine the non-binary people that spent 60 quid on that game um on the premise that they could be non-binary, put it into their computer or PlayStation or whatever, and then it was a lie. Like
Yeah.
it just seems like a proper little bump that they could have
Yeah.
fixed. If The Sims 4 can do it, every game can do